So he asked me about what I know about TV. So I come from backgrounds on IT, and I work with DBP after GE. So I'm also a banker, like but I'm the CIO of the bank. And you can imagine the things that I'm doing now in the bank. Just apart from IT, the process management groups under me for engineering. So I told Carol that for teaming, I've been with teaming since I was in IBM, HP, and GE. GE Aviation is one of the businesses we have in the Philippines. Our Cebu Pacific and Philippine Airlines engines, so most of them are GE. So there's only one person in GE Aviation that represents the group
So I'm going to invite you.
in the Philippines. I just forgot his name. And he's supported by his boss in Malaysia, which is Amin Zahari. That's the sales manager for GE Aviation in the region. So one time I was with our local guy. I'm in healthcare. Amin Zahari with Lance Gomaway and Jimmy Cabang is their CFO in Cebu Pac. So what does it say? I'm with healthcare, but I'm trying to sell aviation because of my relationship. I heard this is the back office. Do you call it back office in Deutsch? When I was in IBM, and Carol knows this, I lectured this one in John Clemens, we call it CARE. Customers are really everything. When I was with IBM, I'm the champion of that module. All employees of IBM, front and back office, go to me for 5 hours, defining a customer. What is a customer as far as the front line and the back office is concerned? So the message of that care is the customer of the front line and the back office are the same. Same as your clients in the bank. The front line, your deposits, your treasury, your trust customers are your clients. It's not you. It is just that you're behind them handling these clients. In DBP right now, what I'm trying to share with them is teaming in the sense that if you're in treasury or in trust, if you're in front of the customer, don't tell them that when they ask you about your deposits and your loans, you're going to say, I'm going to call our deposits and loans people and I'm going to get back to you. That is already a lost opportunity. You should be a one-stop shop people. When I was in healthcare, I have modalities. Modalities are like product people. CT scan, X-ray, ultrasound, and clinical systems. They didn't have a country manager for 12 years till I came in, and one of the things they want me to do is to combine the sales and services people, because they both report in a dotted line locally, but they're full line to their ASEAN headquarters, services and sales. So you can see there's a left hand and the right hand. So if I can observe my modality manager for ultrasound, if he goes to the hospital or talks to the doctors and the med techs or the biomeds, he only confines herself to ultrasound. If the biomeds would ask, I know you sell PET CTs and CT scans and MRI. Oh, okay, I'll call our digital imaging guys to handle that. Again, that's a lost opportunity. So what I did was, not only they will talk about the products that they present, they can also talk about the other services that comes with GE Healthcare, like the other modalities and the other products. And also the services that comes pre and post installation later. I told them, I only have 35 people, and I only have 10 sales people. Philips, Siemens, and Hitachi or Toshiba will have probably double of us. GE is like any American multinational, they're kind of, with headcount. So I have to capitalize on people. And when you spell the word team, it's T-E-A-M, right? The two letters that are very important there is M and E, which is me. But if you talk about me in team, it looks like you're alone. So what we said, the team says many me. Many me's. Okay. So if somebody from the bank, I'm in front of a client, I represent the different departments. And we're trying to train our people to at least be able to get the basic information or queries of the client on behalf of the other departments. So when I come back, they would feel that I was part of you guys, the team of the bank. What's happening right now, and I told Carol this morning, the only way also that you can successfully prevent that is to measure them, co-ownership. I don't only measure them with sales, but I also measure them in services. So country manager, I have all the top line numbers under me, so that I have concern about if I discount the services just to be able to sell the market, the hardware or the medical equipment. I'm trying to put down the margins of the hardware and try to augment the total cost of ownership by also trying to remove additional margins on the services. But if you are from sales and services, you feel you're being measured on margins. So that's where delegation comes also. I'm also delegate a certain amount of discounts representing the Philippines, vis-a-vis working with our ASEAN headquarters in Singapore. So my margin is part of the team's margin in ASEAN. We get paid if we hit the margins on an ASEAN level. So measurement comes into play. I don't know the back of the bank, Deutsche Bank, how you also your KRAs, how you're being measured in terms of performance. But that has to be tweaked a little to be able to have more teaming. Teaming is a non-passive word. Teaming is like in motion, performing like a team member. That's why there's an ing. So anyway, so I don't plan to talk the whole 15 minutes I was given. But if you have anything you want to ask me, I'd probably like to share you my experience regarding the subject matter. That's why, going back to GE Aviation, the guy who's here feels that he's part of the total team of ASEAN or Asia Pac of aviation guys. And the challenge they have, if you sell it takes about 2 to 5 years to sell an engine. It's not like a CT scan will take you about a few months to sell a CT scan. A jet engine is not one that you replace every 5 years. A jet engine can be replaced in one, San Francisco thing, or after 20 years, after 10 years. An airline like Cebu Pac or Philippine Airlines needs to have 4 spare engines at any one time. And if you don't automate the maintenance of an engine, if you miss one engine spare from the 4, you could have a canceled flight. So they have to have the 4 engines spare, or depending on the number of seats for a particular model of an aircraft. So that's why sometimes you get a canceled flight, because they cannot fix the engine right there and then. And I wouldn't want to ride a newly fixed engine right there and then, right? So I'd rather have a canceled flight. So any questions about my quick teaming, GE, bank, sharing? I told Jojo about the challenge, so he's a friend. Okay. Because there are different businesses in GE. There's healthcare, aviation, of course the lighting, the appliances, but that's dedicated to a dealer. There is water. We used to have GE Money Bank, we sold to video. We have So not all of those have country managers. It's just that healthcare, they thought that because of the size of the business, they thought they could manage it out of Singapore. But they forgot about the relationship that has been a major part of increasing your growth or sales in a particular country. So they realized that it can't be that we don't have a country manager because of the relationship. It's harder to handle a doctor than a lawyer in terms of relationship. They're more pampered than other professions. They managed from that straight line to the services regional manager in Singapore, and also the sales for digital imaging in the headquarters in Asia, and also the clinical system. So my boss then was flying every quarter just to be able to say hi to the medical directors or the doctors. But Philips, Siemens, Hitachi has their country manager. So when I came in, my task was really to help combine the sales and services and build the relationship. They were not handling government accounts at this point in time. They are not familiar where DOH is because they thought when you deal with government, it's difficult. But when I was in IBM or HP or British Telecoms, handling the government is similar to handling a private account. So that's how it's being managed. So there's delay in terms of executive coverage. So they welcome me well. It takes a while because they didn't have a boss for a long time, so they notice somebody's watching them. And I always have my 8 o'clock operations meeting every Monday. They didn't have that for years because I only have one meeting in a week. That's the 8 o'clock operations meeting. We talk to the top clients. Then my boss calls me up the next day, Tuesday. And that's also once a week. They have to adjust. And when I have a meeting, them combined, it was also like the first time for them. They used to have separate meetings. It was really 2 islands. That's why sales growth is really different. Yes?
What's the lead, I like the idea of mini me's, but what's the lead time into getting, you said, so your sales staff would be knowledgeable on all the products to mitigate the risk of lost opportunities, but what's the lead time to get your staff trained to where they're knowledgeable on all products? Because you said you had a restrictive workforce. So how long would it take you to get them up to speed?
In G, it took me about minimum 6 months because we have about 7 modalities. So we have to train the account manager to be really knowledgeable from the digital imaging and the clinical system. Digital imaging would be like the X-ray, CT scan, MRIs. Clinical system would be like the ultrasound, ECGs, and the smaller ones, respirator. That was about 6 months. It was a concerted effort of modalities. So every 2 weeks, there's a modality boss manager comes in, he lectures to everybody about services and sales. So that if there are basic questions in terms of capacity, let's say in CT scan you talk about 16 slides, 32 slides. In MRIs you talk about Tesla. In ultrasound you talk about also slides. About 6 months. Then we try to test them on trainings like this. They will make presentations on the whole modalities so that we know they're already prepared to go out of the field and face the clients. Because if you go back to the headquarters, let's say from Cardinal Santos, that's already about an hour. Philips can come in and really close the deal. There are also fast-running products. They don't have much time. And you're talking about $150 billion a year. And there are 3 to 4 major, and my target is only about 25 billion US. But to get there is, you have to buy each and every ECGs to the big MRIs. And one CT scan is about 400, 500,000 US. Yes, ma'am.
I'm interested in the concept as well. Were you able to implement it with the other companies that you work for example, now given Deutsche Bank?
We'll give you a little bit more time. They're only for 3 months, so that's.
Sorry. Or at least an idea how you were able to operationalize it besides training.
Okay, this is my trial in DBP to do also the things. Banks use a lot of paper, right? Banks talk about paperless. When I joined GE 3-4 months ago, the first board meeting of Mancom I attended, was really a big binder full of handouts. God, they have a laptop here, but they have a handout. So I checked. The PAs will send the agenda, then the attachments electronically, and then they will produce the handout. And then somebody will present a PowerPoint. If you have 38 legal topics on, they will only present probably 4 or 5 charts, but they will print the 38, 24 copies every week. So I asked my process management people, that's like, we're spending like roughly about 60 million pesos of paper. And coming from my paperless experience, you have to start with the PA. Don't print if it's already electronically. Then I started with our chief compliance officer. I said, clean desk every time before you go home. Now, no confidential material should be outside of your drawers. Otherwise, you get a reprimand the next day. And it's with a picture. So we have those two, so you can see. And there's an announcement at 4 o'clock to remind you to sell. So they were saying, I don't have enough storage for the paper. I cannot buy storage for you, for the whole back. You have to shred some of those that you have not been using for the longest time. And it's already available in the website or electronically or in our portal, department portal. You have to shred it. So now it's working that we launched the paperless. In your signature in your email, thank you for printing, the usual stuff. Right? It was announced, you know, in DBP we have a flag raising every Monday at 8:30. Also swearing to the flag, we have our family credo, that's every month. It was, every day now it's being flashed, the screen. About 1,000 employees in our auditorium in the top floor. So it reminds them about the paper. So yesterday when I attended Mancom, it's only this. But still, I said, why do we have to have this printed? So now I can feel everybody is getting into it. You have to pull them. We told them that if we are able to reduce our paper by X%, we're saving like 20 million pesos a year. So if you need new projects in the bank, that's where we can sort it. Now, the compliance officer is now happy because there's less paper being printed out. There was times somebody told me, we're recycling the paper anyway. I know, but the balance sheet of the bank is on the other side. That's still confidential. So you have to sell the idea of a project to be able to get the value. You cannot use continuously the stick. You have to manage the carrot and the stick, depending on what time. So when I walk around DVP from floor, sir, no more paper. Sir, I didn't have to buy the new toner or the cartridge because we electronically. Then one thing I noticed every time we do touches to the different sectors, especially accounting, they produced a lot of reports. He said COA requires original, duplicate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yesterday, I met with the COA head. We have a COA inside DVP. Madam, I need your help. We're paper-like. We'd like to. We showed him some forms. Says here, duplicate 1, 2, 3. You don't need those duplicates 1, 2, 3 anymore. Why not? I know it's electronically available. See, even her has a buy-in. So it's communication as well. The accounting people say the attachment has to have 6. The COA is telling me they don't need that anymore because we know there's already an electronic copy. So starting today, they don't produce the 6 copies anymore. And how many of those 6 copies do they produce every day? It's a matter of communication. Yes, ma'am.
Given that DBP is a government-affiliated bank, there may be multiple layers or management. So is DBP currently being practiced in DBP, or do you think that this is something that you can institutionalize for the rest of the organization?
Well, I saw the organizational chart of DBP. See, when I was in IBM, I grew up in banking. My clients were banking. And I noticed that first DBP is a fully owned, government-owned bank. The org of DBP and local banks are almost the same. They're not the layers, maybe over the years. They've also removed like the senior AVP, first AVP, senior first, wala na yun. I thought I was going to look for those titles that I find like, talagang hinug ka na. Hindi ko pa ma-promote. We have the basic na lang like yours. Like AVP, VP, meron pang first VP, meron SVP, meron pang first SVP. Okay. But iisa na lang yun. The EVP na, then the P. Good that over the years they're able to reduce the layers. That's why when they hear that from the, what are you doing there? Like saying, okay. They know the how and the what. Okay. And they're very good, they're very, love of country type of people. It's the who and they know the how and the what. It's the who and the when that I'm trying to put more emphasis. The ownership and the deadlines. Okay, like we have a deadline on July 15, one of our state crew processing. And they were asking me previously if they can delay it in 2 weeks. I did not agree to delay it in 2 weeks. Because if I agreed, that's the first time they requested from me for a delay. I said, we will have to work today. We'll meet July 15th. You have to tell me, even on a Sunday, what do we need to be able to meet the July 15th? I don't think they have, like the private sector, Sundays are normal to work. Okay, 24/7. It's also part of our civil service law. But if you have the buy-in of the team, July 15th is our common goal. So we have to do something today to lessen the pressure of missing the July. So from a humor point of view, so let me know if we're going to meet July 15th. I'm going to order sibulechon for everybody. But if you don't meet July 15th, you tell me sinong lilichonin ko. So, oh, sorry. Me who's I'm going to fry. Don't meet July 15th. But so far, since my review this morning, I think we're going to hit July 15th. And that solves a lot of issues that they used to have. And I told the manager, because we have other big projects in the future, I told the board and the Magom the other day that the way we're teaming right now with the state crew processing and the other modules that we're fixing is preparing the bank for a more bigger project that we're looking at in the next couple of months. So I use the word teaming when I explain updated the management and how we are in terms of content. I think I'm past my deadline too, so thank you.
So thanks very much.